Hey everyone, this is Sarah the Catholic Homemaker. Today I wanted to share with you this large book haul that I recently got at this big annual book sale near me for the library. If you are interested in doing something like that, I encourage you to check out your local libraries and just ask them if they have book sales periodically throughout the year, because there's a number of libraries in my area that do, and I try to take advantage of them as much as I can. First of all, welcome to my channel. I hope that you will consider subscribing if you haven't already so we can continue to grow this community. Also hit the thumbs up button if you like this video. Comment below on classic books that you have found at book sales or where you've found them for good prices, and share this video. All of those things help people find my channel and this video. So let's jump into it. So I spent $141.50. That's a lot of money, but I got a ton of books. I actually haven't counted how many I got because there's so many. I got this whole set of Anne of Green Gables for $10. So it has 8 books in it, all 8 in the collection. And then I almost got the full set of Little House in the Big Woods by Laura Ingalls Wilder. There's just one book missing, and that's The Long Winter. So we have Little House in the Big Woods, Farmer Boy, Little House in the Prairie, On the Banks of Plum Creek, By the Shores of Silver Lake, Little Town on the Prairie, These Happy Golden Years, and The First 4 Years. So like I said, I'm just missing The Long Winter, and hopefully I can find that somewhere else. I think, if I'm remembering correctly, I only ever read Little House in the Big Woods, maybe Little House on the Prairie too, but I never did. Let me know below if you have read any or all of these books. We got a bunch of Berenstain Bears books. So these are the more classical ones. I like to stick with the original authors. I think it's their son that writes some of the newer ones, Mike Berenstain, but I like the classic ones best. And there's some, like the Harry the Dog series, where there's at least one book where it's like based on the character, but I like to go by what the original authors were writing because it's definitely in their style. So Berenstain Bears and the New Baby, and The Sitter, and The Double Dare, The Day of the Dinosaur, The Messy Room, The Big Road Race, and The Trouble with Chores, and Too Much TV, and Too Much Junk Food. I think most of these were 50 cents each. Some of them were $1, maybe because they were thicker. All right, now these next are a gift. Goodnight Gorilla, and then I got a bunch of little Beatrix Potter books from the Peter Rabbit collection. So I have The Pie in the Patty Pan, Tom Kitten, The Tale of Tom Kitten, The Tale of Peter Rabbit, The Tale of Pigling Land, The Tale of Squirrel Nutkin, The Tailor of Gloucester, and The Tale of Jemima Puddle Duck. Now we already have the entire series from Beatrix Potter just in one really big book, so that's just going to be a gift. And I think most of the board books were $2. Some of them were just $1. We have Dr. Seuss's Oh, the Things You Can Think. And then these two were actually on my daughter's reading list, either for preschool or kindergarten. So The Prayer for a Child by Rachel Field, and My Little Book About God, illustrated by Eloise Wilkin. It doesn't say the author. By Jane Werner Watson. Okay. And then, because we have a new baby coming in the next few weeks, I saw some high contrast books, black and white. So I figured that would be a good idea to get some, because we only have like 4 tiny little ones that are black and white, and then I don't have anything else. So got this one here. I'll just kind of show you. Oh, it's all pictures. So I have Baby Bounce. And so that does have some other colors in it. And then this is the See and Say book. So there we go. And then the next ones I'm going to show you are all in Spanish, or bilingual. I'm as quick as a cricket. That's bilingual. Nuevo, mi jardín, my garden. Clifford, La Primera Navidad, the first Christmas. A Color of His Own by Leo Leoni, Su Propio Color. Avión, that's plane. Babu y el Rey León, Babu and the King Lion. Olga y el bullicioso gallo. I think that is Olga and the rooster bully, maybe. Goosey encuentra un amigo. Goosey finds a friend. Tractor, my clothes, and that's just very basic. I'm a big sister, soy una hermana mayor. So the reason I just go crazy for Spanish children's books is because I find that it is a great teaching tool for my children for language learning, and so it's really the best tool that I have along with my background. I don't have like a great background in Spanish, but I did take it in school. I did travel a little bit, and my in-laws also speak Spanish. So I still practice it here and there, but then I practice it more teaching my girls. And the best way I know to build my vocabulary is reading them Spanish children's books. The bilingual ones are good, especially if you don't know very much vocabulary, but the ones in Spanish only are probably better, especially if that's the original story. Like this one here, I don't think there's an English version of it. And so you're probably getting the more accurate vocabulary from that. And bilingual ones can be good, but ones like this where they're trying to rhyme, sometimes it's off. Like we have the 5 Little Monkeys collection. There's a collection of 5 stories in there, and they're in English and Spanish. And I noticed, because it's a rhyming story, that it's not always an accurate translation. It's not a word for word exact translation. So you just have to keep your eye out for that, especially if you're building up your vocabulary and your children. So don't always think that it's exactly the translation that it is. Coming up are more Spanish books. Harry, El Perrito Sucio, Harry the Dirty Dog. We already have this in English, so I thought it would be great to get the Spanish version. Green is a chili pepper. El chile es verde. Albertina anda arriba. El abecedario. Albertina goes up, an alphabet book. El Mundo, the world. El Chivo en la huerta. I think that's a male goat. Chivo, the goat in the garden. La vaca que decía oink, the cow who said oink. ¿Quién es la bestia? I think that's who's the beast. And then Pompey en la juguetería. Pompey in the toy room, maybe? I apologize if my translation is not correct. A lot of these books I found like something that said that was property of a certain language school in there, so they must have, I don't know if this place like closed down or what, but there's a few more, or just one more. Grandes y Pequeños, big and small, with Northwest Coast native art, con arte nativo del noroeste del Pacífico. And then we have some other stories, some more classic ones. What Do You Do, Dear by Cecily Jocelyn. I remember my mother reading this to us as a kid in a dark, dark room, and Other Scary Stories, retold by Alvin Schwartz. So I can't wait to read that to my girls. Harry by the Sea, and I believe this completes our Harry the Dog collection by Gene Zion, and he is the original author. I saw Harry and the Guinea Pig, and that was not written by the original author. Dr. DeSoto, my mother also read us this book, and I love it so much, by William Steig. There's actually another book that he wrote, something Irene. I just don't remember. This was a Newbery Honor book. Okay. Definitely a good story to read to your kids. Oh, there's some more Spanish books later. Okay. The Very Busy Spider by Eric Carle. The Grouchy Ladybug by Eric Carle. Miss Nelson is Missing. I also remember my mom reading this to us, and it's a really good book. Peter's Chair by Ezra Jack Keats. We have not read that one yet. And here is another Spanish one. Alicia en el País de las Maravillas. Alice in the Country of the Marvelous? I don't know. Maravillas. Let me know what that means below if you know. The Quilt Story by Toni Johnston and Tommy DePaula. I really love a lot of Tommy DePaula books. A couple more Spanish ones. Adivina cuánto te quiero. Guess how much I love you. We have that one in English, and so if I see that we have the English version and then there's a Spanish one, I want to get it just so we can try to build that vocabulary. Angelito, little angel. Oh, and there's even more Spanish ones. I forgot how many I actually got. So as you can see, I got a lot of books for the price I got. Okay. Chumba la Cachumba. I actually don't know what that means, but it's talking about the time in here, and it was pretty simple, so I'll figure it out. My first 1,000 words in Spanish. So some of these we may not know, but it will help us to build our vocabulary, especially about objects or nouns. Good night, everyone. Buenas noches a todos. Oso en bicicleta. Bear on bike. This one is in Chinese. Jojo's Playful Day. The only problem, so it was $1. The only problem with this book is there's no pinyin. It's in simplified Chinese. So I will have to look up the characters somehow. When I went to China many years ago, I actually bought one of these translator things where you could draw the character in it and it would tell you the pinyin and it would tell you the English as well. It was great, but it broke after a while, and so I don't have it anymore. Comment below if you know of a good way for me to look up the characters to translate into the pinyin in English, because I would just like write out the pinyin, because obviously I can read it in English here, but to be able to look up the pinyin, I can write it below each character so I can remember. Unfortunately, I've lost a bunch of my Chinese, and so I can remember some of the vocabulary, but just a lot of it I would need to be refreshed on. And so I thought it would be a good book for my kids, especially since it's only $1, and to try to build up some Chinese vocabulary, because I basically haven't been teaching them Chinese because my Chinese is not nearly as good as it used to be. All right, so Moon Rope, Un Lazo a la Luna. I think this is the last Spanish one. Carlos in the Cornfield, Carlos y la Milpa de Maíz. And then this is a good book, Jamberry, The Gruffalo. And then I have some classic ones here. One Morning in Maine by Robert McCloskey. Petunia by Roger DeVoyson. Mufaro's Beautiful Daughters, an African Tale told by John Steptoe. These three are on my daughter's reading list for preschool/kindergarten. There's some others here too. Animalia by Graeme Base. Come Back, Amelia Bedelia by Peggy Parrish. This is on her book list as well. The Travels of Babar by Jean de Brunham. Oh, the Places You'll Go by Dr. Seuss. Andrew Lang is, or I guess maybe not the author, but who put together this collection of stories, A World of Fairy Tales. I'm gonna see if there's anything that we might recognize. I don't think so. It's like stories from all over the world. And I paid $3 for this book. There's a bunch of them. And there's still some more left. The Best Nest by P.D. Eastman. Franklin's Classic Treasury Volume 2, and it includes 4 stories. Franklin is Lost, Franklin Wants a Pet, Franklin's Blanket, and Franklin and the Tooth Fairy. And the last books that I have are a collection of works, well, edited by William J. Bennett. This is also on my daughter's kindergarten reading list, The Book of Virtues for Young People, a treasury of great moral stories. So there's some stories that you might recognize in here. And one pretty cool fact about this book is that there is actually a TV series based on these works. And one of the stories I read to my daughter, I remembered that I had to read in literature, in English literature class, I believe in high school. It was by Leo Tolstoy. I think it was called Land Enough for a Man. It's a really good lesson, really great story. And then there's also another one I thought was a really good lesson / story about Genghis Khan and his hawk. And the hawk's just trying to save his life, but he ends up killing the hawk because he thinks he's just being a nuisance. He thinks he's just causing him trouble. And then he realizes at the end that the hawk was trying to save his life. So it's really unfortunate, but it's things like that that are just really great lessons for your children. This is the children's book of Home and Family by the same author. I think all of these I paid $3 for. So these were like the most expensive ones. The Children's Book of Heroes by the same author. The Children's Book of Faith. And the Children's Book of America by the same author. I missed this one. This is another Spanish one. Tortillas and Lullabies. Tortillas y Cancioncitas. So, oh, it's actually pretty simple too. So, the only other comment I have is, / complaint, is that this library seems to really want to make a lot of money, and so it can make the books more expensive. Because if there's another library in my area where they don't charge nearly as much for the books, but this one, if it's a collection of stuff, like it wasn't too bad paying $10 for the Anne of Green Gables set. But then I was about to buy a set of 12. This is not a complete set. They were just selling these individually. So they were between like $1 to $3 for each of these Beatrix Potter books. But I found a collection of 12 of them, which wasn't even like the full collection that we have, but of just a collection of these little books in a whole set. It was $50 for them, which I'm like, yeah, that would be cheaper than buying it from a bookstore, but I'm like, just because something is more valued, it's a used book sale. Like, people are going there mostly because they can't afford to buy new books, especially like, I mean, just people go there for various reasons. So it's just kind of shocking to me, just when it's a library, like when these things have been donated to them, it's not even from their own collection. And I know it's like a fundraiser for them, but it's just, I feel like it's just very much taking advantage. So anyway, that's my only complaint really about this. I hope you liked watching this video. Let me know below what your favorite books you like to read to your children are, and I hope you have a wonderful week. May God bless you and your family.